Well, folks, I think you and I need to get ready for higher rates for longer. We've been talking about that for several weeks now, if not a couple of months. We also need to really think about the next decade, perhaps being more inflationary than we are used to. Now, this is something you and I have been talking about for quite a while. In fact, I have made references back to the 54-year spreadsheet, again, which we give away for free. I think there's a lot of, again, historical facts that we can look at, tweak, twist, and really understand what is coming our direction. Again, this is according to Lori Logan, Fed Speak. Again, one of the things that you and I should be paying attention to for the next 7 to 10 days is exactly that, Fed Speak. I think what we are currently witnessing in the Federal Reserve is a pretty consistent drumbeat to do a couple of things. One, we are very likely to get our December rate cut, which will bring the total of cuts to 100 basis points. We will go from roughly 5.25 to 4.25. That's one. Near as I can tell, all the Fed presidents, Neil, Lori, and many others, are basically saying, hey, unless something drastically changes, you're going to get your quarter point in December. Take that off the table. What's more important? I think what we are starting to see is a pretty consistent drumbeat trying to move the neutral rate, R star, whatever you want to call it, this magical rate that doesn't expand or contract the economy. They are trying to move it higher. For the longest time, most outside of Michelle Bowman, shout out Michelle Bowman for getting this right again, were telling us that neutral rate was close to 3%. Let's say 3.25, which led you and I and the market to believe that not only would we get a quarter point in December, but we would likely get another 100 basis points in 2025. I think there is a pretty consistent drumbeat now trying to move that higher. In fact, I have read several articles in the last 36 hours talking about the neutral rate perhaps being 4 to 4.25. Why is that interesting? Well, if that comes to be, that means December will be our last rate cut, and then what we will get is a pause, and likely several pauses at subsequent Fed meetings to see, is the economy contracting, meaning they should cut, or is the country expanding, where they should stay flat? These are all important decisions because, again, remember, I've tried to paint a picture for you that I think 2025 is going to be both a tough year and a year of wealth building. Again, remember, 2025 is going to be a tough year because I think what will happen is highly leveraged companies, highly leveraged individuals who were dependent on refining debt at lower rates to survive likely won't get that opportunity. It likely won't happen. Also, my greatest fear, this is the one that hurts and hurts my soul, is that if you should get laid off through no fault of your own, it will likely be harder, meaning longer, to find a job. Because I think what we're going to see is people hold on tight. You're going to see companies put open job opportunities in their back pocket, and everybody's going to stay flat. So again, this is what I see coming in 25. Again, yesterday I think we talked about the fact that I think 2025 is going to be the cycle bottom for existing home sales. Again, it could be as low as 3.7. I do think, generally speaking, things start to improve in 2026. So again, I think it's, if you want to have a cute phrase, it's survive to 2026. That's kind of where I am at in all of this. And if you're in the mortgage business, if you're a real estate agent, real estate broker, appraiser, inspector, anybody involved in the cycle, 2026 and the years after will feel better. They won't feel great. They won't feel legendary like 2021. But you got to remember, if you've lost half your competition, you're going to look at 2026 as a barn burner because, again, it's very likely if we repeat history, you're going to see a significant bump in transactions in 2026. So that is where I am at in all of this. So what did Lori Logan have to say? Lori Logan had 3 risks. 1, upside in inflation. Now, she said that upside in inflation could come in one of 2 ways: elevated demand or adverse supply shocks. Again, something that is very likely coming our direction. Number 2, downside risks in employment. Again, this is my greatest fear. The unemployment rate doesn't have to tick up much. I think the last time we saw it was 4.2 or 4.3. But hey, if it goes to 4.8, 5.1, but the duration expands, that will be uncomfortable. That will hurt. And then number 3, this is the big one. This is the tea leaves. This is the story that they're starting to tell us. Neutral rates are being higher than thought. In fact, neutral rates might be very close to where we are today. Again, folks, I think the bond market got it right. Again, the bond market is a forward-leading indicator. The bond market ripped on rates after the Fed cut 50, have moved slightly after cutting a quarter. Again, I think the bond market was right. And that has all of these other impacts, including really neutralizing extend and pretend. There's a lot of commercial debt, multifamily office that's in trouble, that they are not going to be able to extend longer. They will finally take their medicine. So get ready for that. I do want to congratulate a bunch of people for joining school. We had a bunch of people join in the last 24 hours. Jeremy, Vincent, Monish, Mary Jane, and Olafson. All of you joined. Remember, folks, we got a lot of great goodies. The community is just growing, almost 350 people. Get in there, introduce yourself, comment on some videos, ask questions, join the accountability groups. You're going to get the value by your interactions. And remember, all the goodies that unlock at level 2 and level 3. We just added Jason Pritchard's content, live seller call. How about that? You really should check that out. A lot of you want to understand how to go direct to sellers. Jason Pritchard is the master at that. Originally, we did have a Hemlane event scheduled today with Dana Dumfort, the CEO. Unfortunately, I had to move that. Dana was ready to rock and roll. I've had some family things come up that made it really impractical for me to do today. So I moved that to next Thursday. What is today? Thursday? Yeah, next Thursday. Sorry about that. So instead of today at 8:30, we will do it next Thursday at 8:30. Dana was very gracious with her time. Again, being the CEO of a company is not, their calendars are rather busy, but she wanted to come on and do that. So Dana, if you watch this, thank you. That was very gracious of you. Let's talk about inflation. We got our second of 3 readings. Remember, folks, we get CPI, we get PPI, and then a couple of weeks later, we will get PCE. PPI was kind of as expected. Headline came in at 2.4, up 0.2% for the month, and core was up 3.1, 0.3%. Again, I would keep focusing on core X food, X energy. A lot of the decline in headline is because energy has been falling. I will note that inside PPI, food actually fell this month ever so slightly. So not disinflation, but true deflation in food, according to PPI this month. We will see if that holds. Disney did report earnings, beat top line, beat bottom line, and raised guidance. We also had Cisco Systems, beat top line, beat bottom line, raised guidance. But again, folks, remember, a lot of these companies are really putting out low guidance numbers so they can beat them. For example, at Cisco, this was the 4th quarter of declining revenue. Now, maybe that's because they had tough comps. Who knows? But again, they did beat top line, bottom line, and raise guidance. So we will see where we go from there. Again, we had another Fed president speaking. First, we talked about Lori Logan. Now we've got Barkin, Fed President Barkin. First thing he had to say was about inflation. He said basically the last 30 years has been a low inflation environment. The next 10 could be more inflationary with deficits, deglobalization, and an aging population. Again, folks, I think we need to get ready for higher for longer. I think there's still a lot of people out there expecting mortgage rates to get in the fives. I don't know. Will I think it take a decade? No, I don't. But do I think we'll be there next year? No, I don't. Of course, these are just my wild speculations, guesses, and predictions. I am wrong all the time, as you know. But again, I think you would be remiss, really remiss, if you were planning to kind of date the rate. Like, let's say, for example, you are 100% behind the fact that we will have a 5.5% mortgage rate by the summer. Again, let me be clear. I am not calling that. I'm not predicting that. If somebody bet me money, I would take the other side. But let's pretend you believe that for some reason. You go out and buy a deal that's an alligator at 7.5. But because you are certain and because you're a big baller, you can afford 6, 9, 12 months of negative cash flow. And then you get to the summer and rates are still 7.5. Don't do that. I don't ever bet on the future. Make sure the deal cash flows today. Make sure the deal cash flows today, or don't do the deal. Pay less. Get a seller carry. Do something creative. We are in a market where the rest of 24 and perhaps at least the first half of 25 will be a buyer's market. I do have an interesting thought. I have had some conversations with Adrian. I think those videos come out later today, maybe tomorrow. Adrian Hernandez, big guy, big baller down in Southern California. Jason Pritchard over the weekend, and some other really big name investors. And all of them have said their phone is ringing off the hook post-election. Now, again, all of these individuals spend between $50,000 and $100,000 a month on outward marketing. So they are getting to people that really need to sell. But it does have me thinking, if you're a real estate agent, a real estate broker, an investor, a home buyer, what are you seeing in your market? Has pendings gone up? Has inventory fallen? I'm just curious, right? Has there been some kind of green light lit post-election? Now, maybe it's election certainty. Again, there is something to be said about election certainty. I'm curious, what are you seeing in your buy boxes in the last 8 or 9 days? More inventory, less inventory. More pendings, less pendings. Let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear from you. So something earlier I did is I posted in the comments, if you guys are watching live, I put up a YouTube link. That YouTube link is an interview between myself and Omar El Takari. He and I talked about someone being over 40. How many of you are over 40 watching this? Let me know in the comments below. Are you over 40? We talked about building a brand. Is it too late? You know, is it worth it? I thought it was a wonderful conversation. I loaded the intro onto my Instagram if you want to see the intro. At the end of the day, folks, really what I highlighted there is if you're in your 40s, you've had life experiences, some good, some bad. You've also probably had a hobby or an interest for more than a decade, probably more than 2 decades. And what I tried to communicate in that video is the fact that you have value. You have a story. You have history. You have experience. There are too many 18-year-old life coaches. I know if you're 40 or 50, you might be telling yourself, I'm too old. It's too late. It's not for me. Hogwash. You have value. Now go into creating a channel, a brand, a story, an interest with one sheer goal. Please chase impact. If you chase impact, you will find your tribe. There are lots of other people who have interest in classic cars, Pokemon, billiards, video games, whatever it is. Please share that. On the other side, if you have gone through some truly traumatic, horrific things, you have value. You can help people. If you have gone through a job loss, a divorce, Heaven forbid the painful and excruciating loss of a child or a loved one. There are other people going through that. There are other people that want to know it gets better. Again, if you're over 40, 50, you have the scars, the experience, the stories. It doesn't have to be traumatic. Maybe it's a great thing. Maybe you won the lottery. Maybe you had some lost love, heir give you $100,000. Maybe you won big at a casino. I don't know what it is, but trust me, if you have life experience which all 40-year-olds do, we've all been through some shit. We've all been through some stuff. Sorry. And you want to help. You want to chase impact. The world's your oyster. Don't overthink it. Don't edit. Don't just give. And I think you would be surprised. So again, watch that interview. I put the link above. Omar El Takari, the department. Again, his channel is blowing up. It's almost 100,000 in like no time. So he is very good at what he does. Check that out. It does look like AMD, big old, chip provider, is right sizing the ship. They're going to be laying off about 4% or 1,000 people, which again, when I saw that headline, I was like, wow, somebody who's printing money is laying people off. Yep. They're going to be repositioning talent, moving left, all of that. So again, even strong companies could right size the ship. Again, back to my earlier comment about the duration of layoffs might be interesting. Got some more details on the inflation breakdown. This is from yesterday's CPI. Again, the only deflationary metric was energy, down 4.9%. That's important because if you are really going to see inflation get below 2%, you got to have some deflation, right? Some of the categories. And at least last month, the only negative category was energy. Health insurance was up almost 7%. Car insurance up 14%. Food away from home, almost 4%. Food at home, about 1%. So again, inflation. We did have our accountability group yesterday. Shout out Frank and team for number 20. We've done 20 weeks in a row of accountability groups in school. Please join one. We have 3 to choose from: Wednesday, Sunday, Monday. Again, join the one that is comfortable for your time frame. They talked about running the numbers on a HELOC, when and when not to use a HELOC, placing your first tenant, and also talked about SBA loans or lending. So again, any topic is open for discussion. Join. Number 20, I think there was 15 people that joined, but I may have that wrong. I know there were 15 people last week that joined, but so I may be messing those numbers up. Our weekly unemployment claims, again, that number that we must track each and every week, came in lower than expected. Came in at 217,000, down 4K from last week, and the estimate was 220. So again, our weekly drumbeat of the numbers, we will continue to keep watching. But again, at least as of this week, we are still bumping along that band of around 220 to 230. Anything else to highlight here? No, I think we're good. I got a couple other things, but it's already been 18 minutes, so we'll call it a show. Folks, keep in mind, keep being awesome, keep being amazing, make somebody smile, be nice, be kind, join school, and don't forget to come to our Vegas event. We are less than 90 days out. Again, you're going to get around a couple of hundred other amazing folks, get 6 hours of networking if you're inside the VIP. You won't regret it. Hope to see you in Vegas. Bring your books, bring your cards. We'll autograph, take some pictures. Take care, folks. Later.